back. We
didn't go anywhere at all.
Marathon vlogs.
Okay. What do we got?
This week is about PCs and characters. Questions about how do I do things as a PC? How do I run things for my PCs?
Oh, that's cool. We should have said last week what this week would be about.
We should have. We're sorry, guys. Maybe we'll say it in the blog if we're responsible people when we post the blog. We'll see.
Cool.
Who knows? All right.
Questions.
Our first question. What, if anything, do hero-level Scions tend to want to accomplish with their newfound powers? In your games, what do your heroes want to do? Like when humans become Scions and realize, oh my god, I'm magical. What are their goals?
I don't know, infinite?
Depends on the character. I mean, everybody has a different goal, right? I can think of a few. Like, for example, James Howard in our Eastern Promises game was like, oh, I can totally, like, make the British Empire, like, an unassailable power in the universe, and I'm going to do that because I'm related to the British royal family. And so he does a lot of that, even when it doesn't have anything to do with the story at the time, just because that's what his personal goals are.
Yeah, I mean...
One guy wanted to be a superhero. Some people have become superheroes without wanting to be superheroes.
I guess anything you would normally do. Like, if you thought about, like, what if I had superpowers? What would I do? People want to help their families. People want to become powerful. People want to become rich.
Yeah.
People want to
take out enemies.
Yeah, make good in the world. People want to,
sometimes they want to hide. They're like, I'm going to be a freak, or I'm going to be in danger, or maybe the government will come get me.
Make a name for themselves. I think lots and lots of things, like infinite things, so many things. That's the whole point. Is you can do
anything you want, pretty much. Like, some of them are like, oh my god, I have magical skills now. I can make art I could never have made before. You know, whatever they were already doing. A lot of them want to keep doing that, but better. Some of them are really excited. And they're like, oh, I've been called to fight in this divine war. That's what I want to do. That's cool. What I'm all about. Now that I found out.
Some people are like, I just want to make my parent happy. I met this person with all the Curza and they were awesome, and what do I do to make them happy all the time?
So, you know, it really, like, massively varies, but the answer is usually what that character likes doing, wants to do, can do on a huge scale, and of course, often that leads to what they're going to do as a god, but as a hero, you're starting out, so you're not always sure what you're going to want to do later. But everybody has goals. I mean, if you're playing a character, they should have goals they want to do in life.
Right, yeah. Continue having goals.
Yeah.
Alright, next question.
Next question. Why is Folkwardr carrying Goze's arm?
Okay, that's kind of weird. It's kind of a joke, too. Basically, Folkwardr continually gains and loses an arm. Fate...
he lost it originally by jumping into the well of Mimir, which takes a body part as a price. So he learned a bunch of knowledge but lost his arm. The same way he lost his eye. Yeah,
and then sometimes he jumps into other wells, or goes through the Fate realm, or has something horrible happen to him. Yeah, a lot of screwing with Fate that basically gives and takes the arm of knowledge away.
Yeah.
And sometimes when he has it, since Goze had died in the Fate realm, when he got the arm back from the Fate realm, we kind of like joked around that it was Goze's arm.
And then it actually became a thing, and like later he met Sophia, and she was like, "You can't have that. Give me that. That's my cousin. You can't just wear that." But yeah, basically, mostly kidding around that, like, because Goze died in the Fate realm, it has a lot to do with the Fate realm, that when Folkwardr messes around with the Fate realm and gains an arm, it's Goze's arm.
Yeah. And they were at opposing sides in the Fate War, so...
Yeah, like, they were directly not getting along what they wanted to happen there, so...
Yeah. So there you go.
Yep.
Next question.
Scion is not exactly helpful when a modern Scion with a modern upbringing wants to be god of a very modern concept. For, like, you don't know what powers to take if you want to be a god of the internet or a god of space travel or anything. I mean, Artistry helps a little bit, so, but what kind of powers could gods have like those things? Why is Scion so hard to play something that's not an ancient power?
It's not really. The point is, trying to think of some specifics, but Apollo is the sun god, and you know he's god of music, but
few things,
a lot of things, but he's we don't try to think of there's other concepts that kind of go around that. I think in a modern context we try to put concepts onto it, but he's also god of like kind of the light and the darkness, and living a life that is waking up at the sun and being like punctual and scheduled and on time and Apollonian.
Because he's the light, he's also about like kind of enlightenment and like being the opposite of acting on instinct but acting on enlightened wisdom. Like you get a lot of, basically what we're saying is that purviews are these ancient cosmic primordial powers, but the way that they affect the world and the way that you can interpret them is kind of endless. So if you're going to say, well, I want to be a god of space travel, and there's no space travel purview, and so that's really stupid and hard, instead say, what things could I use for space travel?
Right, so I'm the god of space travel, and you can tell I'm the god of space travel because I have some artistry, and I have some psychopomp, and I have some moon, stars.
Yeah, you know, like I have the skills that allow me to be incredible at being a god of space travel, and I can say I have Psychopomp because it's about traveling beyond the borders of the world. I have Stars because the stars are in the wide-flung space, and each one of them might be a place I could take you to.
I have Intelligence because I want to help humanity gain knowledge about the universe.
Exactly.
Figure out how to rockets.
Yeah, so you know, you look at those things, or if you're like, I want to be a god of finance, well, what things are worthwhile in the world? What things allow you to have power of finance? Do you maybe have fertility so you can create natural resources that are worth a lot? Or you have earth, which allows you to just like basically dredge up all the treasures of the earth, like, or you have a lot of manipulation that lets you manipulate all the stock markets of the world. Like, you want to give yourself the powers that do the things that you want to do, and then you can explain, you can be the god of finance without having a purview called finance. You don't need that.
I actually think those are mostly taken.
Yes.
You shouldn't be like trying to do those like Jeff isn't the god of the sun, he's the god of the frozen sun, so he's trying to be the northern Folkwardr's protector of the north. Like, he is guardian, he does do guardian stuff, but he protects the north.
Exactly.
Sangria is blood, which there's no purview for, but she has a little health, she has guardian, she protects people.
Yes, exactly. You know, you look at, and some of it can just be what you do with a purview too. Like, you can be like, well, I have sun and I don't want to be the sun god, but if I want to be the god of I want to be the god of like whistleblowing, and I can use my sun to be like, I shed light on things that are going on in the darkness that people should know about.
Or you just be a god of heat and have sun and fire.
Exactly.
And like anything else, and maybe industry or artistry to be making heat and stuff.
Yeah, I think we talked to a person a while ago who wanted to make a god of like radiation and like nuclear stuff, and we were like, well, you probably want to get things like sun, like fire, like artistry, so you can be like, you can build things and then you embody these incredible cosmic forces of like heat and pressure and stuff. And so you don't need to have the nuclear purview. You can do those things already.
Yeah.
Theoretically, the goal is that with all the powers in Scion, you can do anything. And so what powers are best for expressing what it is you want to do? That's what you take.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're having trouble figuring out what ones they are, you know, sit down with your storyteller, say, I want to be god of the internet. What do I take to do that? What do you think would be good stuff for that? And hopefully, I mean, if you've been like an internet hacker all the way along, you probably already have intelligence and manipulation and art.
Spiders.
And, yeah.
Like
spiders. So, you know, sit down and talk about like, what could I get, make a plan. Yeah, it's they're not going to give you a specific, here's your power set for that, but all that really means is you get to build your own. You get to say, what things can I use that will be great? And that gives you the creativity to say, hey, this purview that doesn't look like it's related on first gasp, I can do stuff with this that will make it related.
First gasp.
It's a phrase? I probably meant first look, but both are real phrases.
Somebody Google it. We're moving on.
Alright, fourth question. How much XP should I have in creating characters above Legend 2? And your
10,000.
your character,
You get 10,000 XP.
Your character creation page gives values for Legend 3 and 4.
12,000.
What if I want to make a demigod?
100,000.
John's yelling numbers at you.
I don't know, dude. Like, it depends what power level your storyteller wants to have the game at.
I mean, if you're starting at Legend 6 with everybody, you're going to kind of like make your basic character, give them the XP we gave you for 4, then apply the demigod upgrade, and then say how much stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I only admitted to do the 3 and 4 one because Anne kind of forced me because she was like, everyone's asking for it. I'm not gonna like. I think it becomes so changeable. Like every legend you go up, the options for how much XP you could have are vastly different.
Yeah, I think at hero level we were able to give you some target numbers because we were like, heroes are fairly small. They have a fairly small amount of things that are available to them. But once you get to demigods, and especially gods, like every ST is going to have to go, what do I want these people to actually start with access to? Because there's a huge range.
The Gangs of New York game, their Legend 2 characters that come in, they come in with 120 XP on top of the starter character. Even if they have Legend 2, just because I want them to be equal with the rest of the game.
Yeah, because we have people coming in at different legend levels, so if they're lower legend, they're getting a bunch of XP so they can compete with people who are higher.
Yeah. Eastern Promises just had a new Legend 3 person come in with like 200 XP. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I could say, I think you could make a Legend 5 guy with 200 XP.
Yeah.
And it would just be less well-rounded.
And we did that once. We started the Aurora's band, everybody started at Legend 5, and we were like, you know what, build your regular hero, add your demigod upgrade, and then we're going to give you 200 XP. Yeah. And that's what you get. Or whatever. I don't remember what the exact number was. But it was something like, we were like, we don't want you to have too much stuff, we're just going to start a demigod.
But at the same token, I think at Legend 5 you could not finish making your character with 1,000 XP.
Yeah.
You could be like, oh, I can't buy that extra epic I wanted.
God, I'm in a Nuna. I could have been buying so much May.
So much May, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, it's kind of a choose your own adventure there for STs.
Yeah, it's going to be the STs, how, like, you know, from XP, what kind of power level they'll be. Like, there's no difference between starting at Legend 5 and giving them X amount of XP, and playing 20 games on the way to Legend 5 and giving them X amount of XP on the way there.
Definitely.
Like, it's the same thing. Like, that's like asking how much XP to give per game. And I think that's totally, it's all about how comfortable the ST is with the power level.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've put out tables for XP per game, but we always say, you know what, this is just what we do, and your games might be completely different.
Keep going.
Don't know how often you play, don't know how fast you want people to advance, so it's kind of up to you. So, you know, unfortunately we can't just give you an easy number, because we have no idea what you're doing in your game. But, sorry, but good luck.
Good luck!
And we'll go to the next question?
Yes!
Alright. Next question. In our games, we run Santa Muerte as a Legend 12 goddess and a former Scion. How do you think other Aztec gods react to being massively overshadowed by a new god's legend? So, like, how does Mictlantecuhtli deal with his Scion is now way more important than he is in the modern world?
Like, I don't know. No one's happy about it. Like, how does your grandpa feel that you can drive a car? Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, part of it is always going to depend on the god. Some gods are going to be cooler with stuff than others. Some are going to be jealous pains in the butt.
Yeah, I mean, the same way that you would have the PC deal with that. Like, theoretically, she's just a PC. Or, you know, an NPC in a PC area.
Yeah, I mean, I think some gods are going to be like, well, yeah, you're important now, but don't get uppity, you're a baby. Some gods are going to be like, we want to use your powers, but we're not going to respect you. Some gods are going to be like, I want to compete with you directly because I'm threatened by you. And some gods may be cool with it and may be like, you know what, I'm glad you're here helping. We can use it.
And also, there's not a direct correlation between modern worship and power level.
Exactly. Like, Santa Muerte probably isn't... I mean, you can run her as Legend 12, you are. But that doesn't necessarily mean she's Legend 12 because she has more worship. Like,
or that she's Legend 12 because she's more powerful than those who are old Legend 12 but don't have worship now.
Yeah, like Mictlantecuhtli did not stop being Legend 12. He is not less powerful just because people don't believe in him anymore. He's still there being Legend 12, being ridiculous cosmic death god. So... I doubt that he feels real threatened by Santa Muerte. I think it's more likely that either he thinks of her as you're a helpful family member, and it helps that the Aztecs have loyalty, so they kind of put up with each other.
He sure as shit doesn't call her Santa Muerte.
He probably does not use Spanish. A lot of them probably don't. They would make up some name that... I mean, her name is just Saint Death, and his name is just Lord of Death, so, like, he's just going to be like, whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, isn't she his wife?
It's a prominent theory that Mictlantecuhtli, his wife, is probably developed into Santa Muerte. But, I mean, there's a lot of influences involved in the creation of Santa Muerte, so we don't really know for sure.
Like Africa.
Yeah, it might be Mictlantecuhtli himself, actually, that was the basis of that, and they just changed her gender at some point.
Correct,
because of saints.
Because saints,
Yeah. So, but at any rate, they have loyalty and duty, so they're going to put up with each other probably decently. Mm-hmm. They kind of have to, and probably no one is going to be like, oh, you're on my turf, because... they're not going to get less powerful. She's not going to take over the underworld from him. So there may be a little bit of nastiness, but not like no one's going to have a giant fight over it.
But only the same amount. Like again, good question, I guess. But it's going to be up to your storyteller and what they want to do with the world.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the plot is about.
Unless we're running your game, we don't have an answer that works.
Exactly. So sorry. Next question.
Next question.
All right.
You can just go to the next question.
Okay. Alright, how do you deal with a player who checks out after something really bad happens to their character? One of my players got both of his legs blown off, and when I sit down and talk to him, he doesn't mean to be selfish, but he doesn't feel excited to play the character anymore, and it's been going on for weeks, but he won't quit.
I mean, that's difficult. Like, weeks is, I think, definitely too long. I've never had a player that, like, drags that into the next game. Usually, like, if they check out, they're like, that really sucked, I can't deal with that right now.
But you know, I have a week to deal with it and then come back later.
And they come back, and they come back kind of recharged, and they spend the week trying to figure out what they could do.
I can see that, like, if your player lost his legs, and he hasn't been able to get them back for right now, so he may be feeling like, I can't do stuff, I'm disabled now physically in a very obvious way. It's hard for me to... I don't know what his original character did, but if he was all like, I want to be super action hero doing ninja flips, that might be depressing that he can't do that.
Like, but that's a place for character growth, like... it's a role-playing game, so hopefully he's there for some sort of role-playing. And that's a thing to get over, you know, like watch Forrest Gump and watch that character deal with how it sucks and find a place for himself in the world still.
And I think my big question to your player is, if this is really bumming you out and you don't like this happen to your character, why isn't your character trying to fix it? Yeah. There's a lot of powers in Scion that can regenerate legs. Why isn't he, if he's not high enough legend, I mean, anybody can get regeneration, so in the first place he could buy that. If this is a magical, like, maiming injury that he can't heal that way, but there's still probably, like, places, people, things he could find.
Right, if it is, like, so important it's ruining his entire life, he can go beg someone. You know, please, this is a magical, horrible maiming, please, health and magic god, fix it for me. Like,
yeah, like, he's a Scion, so he knows there's this whole world where, like, people can do batshit insane stuff with powers. So he's got to know that somebody somewhere could fix this for him.
Yeah.
So it totally makes sense for the character to be, like, depressed, really shocked, have trouble dealing with it, but at some point you got to say, look, dude, if you're really not enjoying the game because you have suffered this injury, why isn't your character trying to fix it? Like, he could make that his whole goal for right now.
Yeah.
And then once he does fix it, hopefully he's doing great. If he doesn't fix it, maybe he learns to live with it and become a new kind of a hero. You know, either way, like, if he's not going to be doing anything, it's kind of a question of, you know, obviously you said he's not trying to be a pain in the butt, he's just having trouble being excited. If this is the thing he can't play with and be excited about, then you need to say, well, you can try to go change that. That's on you. The storyteller's not going to just fix it for you.
Yeah, I think that's players sometimes. I mean, I don't know the guy lower league, but players sometimes do that as a way to manipulate the ST, and it's important not to be manipulated by that because it's unfair to the other players, and it only causes everyone to start doing it or that person to do it more. So the important thing is, give them some careful nudging. Hey, you know, have you tried this? Or hey, and then if it goes, I would say 3 games is probably my limit. You gotta be like, you sit down and be like, hey, you're ruining it for everybody.
Problem here.
Yeah.
And when we say manipulating, he may not even mean it. He's just subconsciously going, if I'm sad enough, he'll help me.
Yeah, a lot of us have.
Some of us do that.
Triggers from childhood about how to manipulate people without even meaning to manipulate people.
He's treating you like a parent by accident.
yes. Often players treat the ST like a parent by accident, and it's easy to fall into the child reflexes of how to manipulate a parent.
Yeah, and maybe not even on purpose, but it happens. So yeah, say, if he really doesn't want to go and try to fix it, he's like, that's too much work, I'm not going to enjoy that, and I don't enjoy what's happening now, then you need to be like, why are you still playing this game?
Yeah.
What can we do that you're going to enjoy? Can we find a way for you to play a disabled character that you enjoy?
Or can we find a way to fix it?
Yeah. And
but a lot of that is going to be you, and it's going to be hard work, and it's not going to be, I'm not going to fix it for you.
Exactly. I mean, if it's not like a magical maiming that can't be fixed, he just needs to spend some XP on regeneration and boom. But if it is...
Or metal legs. Spend it on Artistry and get metal legs.
Build you some, like, Hephaestus hover chair, run around, be Professor X. Like, there's a lot of way you can play somebody who has a physical disability without being like, I'm useless. Like, you're a magical hero, you're not useless.
Next question.
Next question. Is it possible for a Scion to be a legendary mortal before his visitation?
No. I was going to automatically say yes. Like, no matter what she said, I was going to be like, yup.
No. Legendary mortals are a completely different class of thing. That's specifically a mortal who is never going to be anything else but a very awesome mortal. The best a mortal could possibly be. Yeah. You as a Scion are already a really great
Doesn't even really make sense. It's not a sensical term.
Yeah, I mean, why do you want that? Do you just want him to have, like, 1 dot of legend to spend sometimes? Like...
Yeah, I get 1 dot of legend to spend on a defensive duo sometimes.
Yeah, like, what is exactly that you are looking for there? Did you want him to have, like, a teeny tiny legendary aura? Because he probably doesn't even need that. Like, magical people know he exists. Yeah. So, a Scion is a completely different creature from a legendary mortal. They are there for 2 very different reasons in the game that they exist. So you don't need them to be the same guy. The reason is for once in a while there's someone who's obviously immortal who does legendary things that are worthy of, like, saying this person might have had legend. Sure. That's why it's in the thing. I didn't write it.
Yeah. Alright, next.
Alright, since your write-ups for Titans don't include stats, how do you run scenes where your characters are interacting with them? Like, whether they're fighting them or negotiating with them, how do you run those scenes with Titans without involving dice and rolls? We involve dice and rolls.
Yeah.
So the fact that we didn't put stats there does not mean no one's rolling.
Yeah.
That would be really hard.
Again, we don't need to give you stats because the Titans are part of the PC story, and so their stats are kind of static, but also kind of based on the PCs. Like,
anytime they're going to go up against a challenge, you're going to say, how hard do I want it to be for them to succeed? Can they succeed?
Yeah, sometimes impossible. Sometimes not impossible.
Yeah, they're legend 9, and they want to go fight, like, Erebus, they're going to lose. So, be like, I'm going to write a dice pool based on Erebus is probably going to win everything automatically. And if you then say, well, there's maybe a chance they could, like, get a couple hits in, like, you have to figure out what do you want them to be able to do in this scene. What do they need to be able to do? What are they powerful enough to do? What do you want to happen in this scene? Do you want them to have a chance? Do you want them to not have a chance? Do you want them to have a chance, but it's a super slim one? And then set your dice pools for the Titan that way.
Yeah.
Like it's
just like treat the Titan like every other monster, creature, thing, god, everything.
Yes.
Should all be based on the PCs in some way towards their story.
Because it's their story. So if you're saying, okay, they're going to go after this Titan, they can't possibly win. We're going to say the Titan rolls 100 dice with 70 autos every time. If you want them to go against someone, like if they're Legend 12 and they're really close and you feel like they have a chance to beat the Titan, make them more equal. It depends on what your story is.
There's usually more of them when they're prepared, so don't make it equal. But
well,
we're not going to give you numbers for those.
Yeah, exactly.
We can say really, really big, and you can figure it out.
Yes, they should be the hardest things to kill in the entire setting, but not impossible. Work with that.
Figure it out. Yeah. All right.
All right.
How many questions do we got left?
2.
All right, we can do it. It'll be fast, though.
So, one of my players has primarily mentals-based character who's a bit of a jerk. And enjoyable for the table, but just in character he's a jerk. But as things are getting higher in Legend, he's making a lot of enemies because of really bad socials and decisions. He wants to use Artistry to make a relic to compensate for not being likable. He doesn't want to ever buy any socials, and Fate would fight him on it because he has bad Fate bonds. He just wants to act like he has socials because he has a relic. How do I write this relic for him?
Cheating.
Yes.
Don't let him cheat. No cheating.
Basically, what we will tell you is that you can make a relic that gives you a bonus to a social roll, but it is not going to replace a social roll. No. We're not ever going to say you never have to buy social stats, but you get to win social rolls, because that's cheating, and that's saying all the social people that spend XP just got screwed. Yeah.
You can make some relics that will make you a little better at it.
Yeah.
Give you some bonuses to it, give you some extra dice, but if you're already horrible at it, and you're just continue to be horrible, and your fate bonds are fighting you, and it's not going to go well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're going to still... Once in a while, we have a lot of relic that says you can, for a specific case, roll a different attribute instead, but that's usually for a power. Usually
a boon, we could say, okay, well, this boon usually rolls strength athletics. We're going to let it, for this one guy, for this one relic, it lets him use dex athletics.
Yeah, and he has to pay double or something.
Yeah, but it's expensive for the relic rating, and...
We would never ever give anyone a relic that said you can always roll intelligence instead of charisma. No, ever. And we would never give anyone a relic that was like, you don't have to buy social stats, this relic just is social stats. Yeah. Not only would that relic be insanely, that's like a 7-star relic, it's way too powerful for anyone in the entire game to have, but it's completely cheating for that character to be like, I want all the benefits of being a social character, but I don't want to have to pay for them.
So, if he's going to be a jerk, and Fate figured out he was a jerk, and everyone hates him, well, he's a jerk and everyone hates him.
I think what he needs to do here is embrace his strength. So if you say he's a really high mentals guy, he needs to go, okay, everyone hates me. I know that. I'm going to plan great plans and contingencies and backups for dealing with if people come after me. Yeah. I'm going to make sure that my wits or my perception is really great so I see people before they get to me, or I have great reaction time. Yeah. I'm going to set up my friends as my run interference for me, guys. Be a strategic tactician.
I'm going to start having friends that are actually just rocks I built.
Yes.
Because no one likes me. I don't have actual friends.
Yeah. If you've got Artistry, you can make robots and stuff. They don't got to like you.
Yeah. And I was talking about this before, though, too. He doesn't actually want that relic that fixes his charisma problem, because the energy and time it takes to make that relic could have made a relic that made him smarter or better mentals.
Yeah.
And so even though he says things are hard and I don't want to do that, he really would rather have the thing he's good at, because if he wouldn't, he would have spent his XP on the socials already.
Yeah, I mean, it does suck when you have bad social rolls and people don't like you, but the solution is not to say I need to cheat so that I have good social rolls. It's to say, what am I good at? How do I make that into the thing that lets me survive? How do I make that the thing that makes me valuable enough or smart enough or crafty enough that people don't or can't kill me?
Right.
Or inconvenience me too hard. I mean, and you know what? Sometimes people are going to do bad stuff to him because they hate him, and that's going to be part of life. But that happens even to people with good socials.
I mean, also there's a turning point in a lot of people's lives where they realize, I'm being a jerk, that's going to get me killed. Stop being a jerk. You can still be unlikable, but stop being a jerk so that people have a reason to come get you.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to do that. But if he doesn't want to do that, he's going to need to solve this problem, not in a way that just says, I want to cheat my way out of it.
Yeah. You made a problem, fix it in a real way that requires real work.
Yeah, I promise it'll be more satisfying to be really awesome at the things you're really awesome at and use those to triumph than to be like, well, I had to spend all my energy on this shitty other thing just to pretend I'm not bad at it.
Yeah.
You don't want that's not fun.
Final question.
Final question, we're done. That was it.
You said 2 more. And then you read this
I said but 1.
Oh, okay, 2, but 1. I was supposed to pick up but 1?
Yeah, that's me saying,
okay.
Wait, no, it's 1.
Alright, well that was the last
PC
question.
Day.
We'll see you next week for...
Next week for general Pantheon stuff.
Okay.